Okay, let's unpack this source you sent over. It's, well, it's got a uniquely sharp focus, shall we say.
Yeah, you could say that.
We're diving into an article from a site called Spidey Posts. The title is 12 Houseful Movies Actresses Flaunting Their Sexy Back and Raising the Heat.
Right.
I mean, just that title alone, you kind of know what you're in for, but it definitely makes you curious. Like, what exactly are we going to find here?
It's a very specific filter, absolutely. And I think our mission here for this deep dive is really to explore this source, understand its whole approach,
Yeah.
figure out what we can learn by looking closely at how it presents information, especially about these actresses from the Houseful movies.
Exactly. We want to see what stands out in the material you brought to us.
Mm-hmm.
And, well, what stands out right from the jump is that title, like we said, and the theme. 12 actresses, Houseful series, but seen through this incredibly narrow lens, flaunting their sexy back and raising the heat. It tells you exactly what the angle is.
It really does. It just bypasses everything else, right? Their roles, their acting, their careers, none of that. It just zooms right in on, well, one very specific visual aspect and the perceived impact. That's the frame the source chose.
So, okay, let's look at who they actually list. It covers actresses from, well, pretty much the whole franchise mentioned in the source. Houseful 1 right through 4, and even looks ahead to Houseful 5.
Yeah, you've got names like Deepika Padukone, Laura Duda from the first one, then Asin and Zareen Khan from Houseful 2, Jacqueline Fernandez, Lisa Hayden, Nargis Fakhri from the third one.
Right, and then Houseful 4 had Pooja Hegde, Kriti Sanon, Kriti Kharbanda.
And they even pull in names mentioned for the upcoming Houseful 5, like Chitrangda Singh, Soundarya Sharma, Sonam Bajwa. So it's trying for comprehensive coverage,
But only within that very, very specific filter.
Exactly.
Okay, so the real interest, I think, comes when you look at the details they choose to highlight. It's all about the clothes and the pose. Like Pooja Hegde, shimmery brown backless dress, Kriti Sanon, yellow backless dress that apparently wowed fans.
Mm-hmm. And Jacqueline Fernandez, this is interesting, a bold photo shoot where she flaunted her sexy back while covering herself with a towel. And that made fans crazy.
Right. Then Deepika Padukone, it's stylish saris with backless blouses that turned heads.
Zareen Khan gets a blue halter neck dress, which made fans drop their jaws. Lisa Hayden, a backless white dress.
You see the pattern here, right? It's like, it's not just describing the item of clothing.
No, not at all.
It immediately connects it to a supposed reaction. Wowed fans, made fans crazy, turned heads, dropped their jaws.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's where you really see the source's intention, I think. The language they use is consistently sensational. Chitrangda Singh defined hotness. Soundarya Sharma set social media on fire.
Sonam Bajwa in a wet red backless dress, very specific, set Instagram ablaze.
And Nargis Fakhri showing sexy bag and major side boob. It's just relentless.
Set social media on fire, set Instagram ablaze, raising the heat, raised the temperature, oozed much oomph. You see these phrases again and again. It's not subtle.
No, not subtle at all. And what's fascinating, or maybe revealing, is just how consistent it is.
Yeah.
Every single example, doesn't matter which actress or what outfit, it gets run through this filter of like visual appeal and the supposed heat or reaction it causes.
Yeah.
It just flattens these individuals. These are actresses with careers, different roles, public lives.
Right.
And it reduces them down to this one single physical thing and the sensation it supposedly creates.
And if you zoom out a bit, like the source material suggests, and look at the other stuff on the Spidey Post website, well, it fits right in, doesn't it?
Practically.
The source mentions related posts in categories like bikinis, skirts, bodycon, off-shoulder, latex, high-slit, bralettes. Even stuff like wardrobe malfunction viral videos, leaked videos, sex scenes.
Yeah, that wider context, it really confirms things.
Yeah.
This article isn't some weird outlier. It's part of a much bigger pattern on that site, a pattern that heavily focuses on celebrity bodies, certain types of revealing clothes, and, yeah, often uses sensational or maybe even voyeuristic angles.
So the Sexy Back article, it's perfectly in line with how that site generally filters information about famous people.
Precisely.
So, okay, what does this all actually mean for you, the listener, looking at the source with us? Why is it even interesting to pick apart something like this?
Well, I think because this source gives such a clear example, maybe an extreme one, but clear, of how content creators can just apply a super narrow, repetitive filter to information. It shows how something complex, like, say, the careers of these actresses, can be boiled down and presented through just one lens: visual appeal. hotness.
Hmm.
It really highlights a common way female celebrities get portrayed in some media bubbles. And it kind of pushes us, hopefully, to think more critically about the lens itself, the perspective we're getting when we consume information about people, especially famous ones. It's like a little case study in information filtering that you brought to the table.
Yeah.
And understanding that perspective, the source's angle, the language it chooses, even if the article itself seems kind of trivial on the surface, that's actually a really crucial skill today. There's just so much information flying at you constantly. And this source, based on what you shared, it just lays bare how one specific filter gets applied and how that shapes what you see and maybe how you think about the subject.
So to sum it up, we took that deep dive into the Spidey Post article you shared. We looked at their list of houseful actresses. We noted those very specific descriptions focusing only on their backless outfits. And we analyzed that repetitive, sensational language and how it fits the site's overall focus.
Yeah, we really examined how the source presented them. It wasn't about the movies or acting. It was purely through this particular media lens that fixates on, well, body parts and perceived impact, consistent with the site's broader approach.
Right. So this deep dive into this very specific article about sexy backs in the Houseful franchise, based entirely on the source material you provided, it kind of makes you wonder, doesn't it? What other narrow, repetitive filters like this are being applied to the information you consume every single day? And maybe more importantly, what are those filters causing you to overlook about the bigger picture, beyond that one often sensationalized dimension?
Something to think about.